Everything cut from Fallout 4's Far Harbor DLC. You begin the DLC by listening to a radio broadcast and speaking with Ellie Perkins in Diamond City to take on a new case to investigate Kasumi Nakano, the missing daughter of the Nakano family. After reaching their residence on the northeastern coast of the Commonwealth, you gather evidence and discover that Kasumi left for a place far north, called Far Harbor, to live at a synth refuge known as Acadia. Using a boat provided by Kenji, you travel to the island and the town of Far Harbor. Upon arriving there, you're met by Alan Lee and Captain Avery, who after a brief conversation ask for your help in defending the hull against the creatures of the fog. Looking at the quest that controls the fight, it seems the scene with the running survivors and Jared Gresham at Far Harbor's gate was originally meant to play out differently. According to a scene named DLC03 MQ02 Old, Jared would have been screaming about Howard's death while running towards the gate.
They got Howard! Howard!
Run, idiot! If anything shows up, give him covering fire!
What was it? What's out there? I don't know. Fog's too thick. Howard!
The same Howard who in the final release is found dead while trying to repair the damaged fog condensers to re-establish a safe path to the town's water supply. It seems Howard was originally meant to be part of their scavenger group. When defending the hull in the final release, we fight against gulpers, anglers, and mirelurk hunters. Unfortunately, players on PC never actually get to fight the two mirelurk hunters, due to the PC version not spawning them correctly. That's why it's a little confusing hearing Avery yell,
What the?
Hunters! Look out!
The defensive fight is split into 3 waves, but looking at the quest script, it appears that the third wave wasn't originally meant to be gulpers and anglers, but a mirelurk queen instead. This suggests the DLC's developers were at one point planning a full boss fight in front of the town's gate. Another piece of evidence for the mirelurk queen can be found in the first Hull Breach side quest, given to you by the Mariner. In this quest's script, there's a leftover note from one of the devs saying the mirelurk queen has to be dealt with before she'll offer this quest. After the fight is over, Avery was originally meant to reward you for helping by giving you a harpoon gun and some harpoons. Instead, this was changed to 275 caps. She will also ask you to help around the town, unlocking the option to do some of Far Harbor's side quests, one of them being Safe Passage, given by Avery herself. This quest originally did not include the dead Howard character, surrounded by the 2 mirelurks. Instead, Avery would have given you the necessary parts herself. Later on, likely when the initial survivor scene was changed, the Howard character was reused for this quest instead. In the last plank bar, Mitch was originally intended to wear a surveyor outfit and a pirate hat, but this was later changed to a greaser's jacket and jeans. But before we go any further, if you're looking for great deals on Fallout games, Eniba, an online digital gaming marketplace, has some incredible offers, including cashback deals. For example, if you pick up this Fallout 4 Game of the Year edition, you can get 14% of what you paid back into your Eniba wallet to use on future purchases. And it's not just for Fallout either. Eniba offers a huge selection of titles at low prices for games on Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo. Plus, the marketplace has an excellent rating on Trustpilot, and if you want to find out how to save even more money on games, or possibly even get them for free, stick around until the end of the video. Now back to Far Harbor. Mitch, as well as the other merchants and service providers in the town, have unused reaction voice lines, reacting to the different quests you complete in the town and major events on the island.
Taking a pool here. So who do you think Dima replaced? It's up to 513 caps so far.
These voice lines are overwritten by his vendor dialogue and can never be heard.
The island plays no favorites. Just ask the children of Adam that. Ha ha ha!
Mitch.
Do you still see those Acadians? I need a drink.
It's the same with Teddy Wright, the town's doctor. He has reactions to you helping Small Bertha,
You did good by Smalls and the Dock Rats.
and to the different outcomes of the main quest.
It's hard to lose an appetite for hate. Might be best the children of Adam are gone. I fear something terrible happened to those synths in Acadia.
Teddy also has an unused dialogue response when the player asks whether they can try to help Andre. He would have refused your help due to the harbormen mistrusting mainlanders if you hadn't helped the town out and completed the captain's dance.
I know a few things about medicine. Can I try to help him?
You say what? You? Help? I'm tempted. But if something goes wrong, folk around here will get in a tizzy. And they got enough mistrust of mainlanders. Sorry.
After helping the mariner repair and fortify the hull, she will offer you one last quest to join her in hunting down the Red Death. According to the quest's script, it was once intended for the mariner to ride in your boat with you. The script would have teleported the mariner behind you in the boat. It was later changed so that the mariner simply teleports directly to the Red Death Island and speaks to you through a radio. Looking at the quest in the creation kit, there are 2 quest stages that were left unused and never trigger, named Mariner Sails Away and Mariner Ends It All. These are the outcomes that would have shown what ultimately happens to the mariner and would have been influenced by you and how you responded to her terminal illness, which was cancer. If she chose to simply leave and sail away, a note would have appeared on her side table next to her bed, simply written, "Gone fishing, Mariner." But if she decided to end it all on her own terms, a bunch of jet would have appeared scattered next to her bed, with her possibly laying in the bed, and a different note would have been found on her side table, explaining that she leaves her docks and all her other property to the people of the island. The harbormen also have unused voice lines, reacting to either outcome.
Gone fishing? What the hell does that mean? I shouldn't have teased the mariner so hard.
Getting back to the main quest to find Kasumi, Captain Avery will direct you to Old Longfellow, a potential companion and the best guide to reach Acadia, where Kasumi is located, sitting in the last plank. According to his concept art, he was originally meant to wear the old fisherman's hat, which can still be found in the game, worn by trappers and sold by different merchants on the island. Looking in the creation kit, there's an armor add-on named Longfellow Hat that uses the old fisherman's hat model, further solidifying that he was originally meant to wear it. According to a leftover message, it was once intended to be possible to romance Longfellow, but this was ultimately cut. I didn't find any leftover voice lines for this, but I did find his unused reactions to the destruction of Far Harbor. In the final game, the moment you shut down the power to the fog condensers around Far Harbor, Longfellow turns hostile and uses his combat barks. At some point, the devs were considering letting the player continue to interact with him even after destroying the town.
Well, if it ain't the butcher of Far Harbor, that massacre in Far Harbor was your doing. You can burn in the pits of hell. The blood of all Far Harbor's on your hands. Can't see how you live with it.
After arriving in Acadia with or without Longfellow, you have to speak to Dima in order to access the rest of Acadia and the synths that live there. Interestingly, a lot of the named synths like Cog and Dajin have voice lines telling you to go talk to Dima first.
Nope, not me, pal. You want to be talking to Dima.
I'd love to talk to you, but I don't think you should keep Dima waiting.
Your business is with Dima. Talk to him.
Dima is waiting for you.
This indicates that at least at one point, it was intended that you would have access to all of Acadia when you first entered, instead of having all the doors locked.
Don't have the key.
Dima's face was meant to look different. You can see this in his character gen parts in the creation kit. His face complexion is set to default instead of his unique head skin. This is what his face was supposed to look like. After talking to him, he'll inform you that Kasumi is really here and will direct you to her in the basement of the settlement, where the runaway girl will confess that there's something sketchy going on and will ask you to help her uncover a secret hidden by Dima. She presents 3 options for finding out: talking to Dima, hacking Faraday's terminal, or eavesdropping on their meeting by hiding in a storage closet. In the final game, if you don't eavesdrop and don't have a high enough charisma, you have to bypass Faraday's terminal by hacking it, which is locked with a master lock. But it seems there was originally going to be a physical password holotape hidden somewhere in Acadia that you could have stolen to bypass the lock. It's still in the game files named Faraday Terminal Password, and if you spawn it in-game using the console, it works. If you talk to Chase, a former courser and one of the co-founders of Acadia, she will give you a side quest called The Arrival, where she asks you to track down a missing runaway synth from the mainland. After talking to Brooks and following the blood trail, you'll discover that the synth was killed and eaten by trappers. You can retrieve his head by either killing them or passing a speech check with the lead trapper. According to the quest script, you would have originally had to retrieve the head from the trapper's cooking pot. A pop-up menu was supposed to appear when you interacted with the pot, forcing you to make a choice. Do you fish the severed synth head out of the stew to bring back to Chase as proof? Or do you leave it in there? If you chose to leave it, the script would still let you finish the quest, but Chase's dialogue would change. The synth's head was also intended to look different. Speaking of trappers, they were supposed to wear an unused Under Armour clothing piece called Raider Diver Under Armour, but it never appears in the game. There are also only male trappers found on the island, but they were intended to have females among them, as evidenced by a leftover voice folder named Trapper Female 01, which contains developer recorded placeholder lines. There's also an unused female trapper named Trapper Coast Acadia M01 female that was meant to originally appear in the Missing Synth side quest. Switching back to Acadia, the generic refugee synths found in and around the observatory each only have one voice line that they repeat the entire time, but they actually have much more dialogue. All of them have unused reactions and additional general voice lines.
I can't believe you're willing to just go out into that fog.
I'm staying out of all the political stuff going on.
It's a shame we couldn't have settled someplace less creepy.
I'll breathe that damn fog all day long if I never see the Institute again.
After obtaining Faraday's program and continuing with the main quest, you will have to infiltrate the Nucleus, which is occupied by the children of Adam, and retrieve and investigate Dima's memories stored in the Nucleus Command Center. While on your way there, you might stumble upon the crash site of Horizon Flight 1207, an airplane that was downed during the Great War. It's inhabited by a friendly super mutant named Erickson and his dogs. If you had Strong with you as a companion, Erickson would have reacted to him and was once intended to give you a copy of his unique outfit as a gift for Strong to wear.
Here, this is for your friend. Not often that I see other super mutants willing to travel with a human.
Once reaching the Nucleus, you'll be met by Grand Zealot Richter, who will task you with finding and drinking from their sacred spring in order to join the Children of Adam and gain access to the Nucleus. After drinking from the spring, you enter a hallucinatory state, and a ghostly dark figure known as the Mother of the Fog, covered in black smoke, will appear and guide you to the Mother icon. During this hallucination, there are additional unused voice lines from the Mother of the Fog, where she says several extra lines. Looking at the quest script, it appears there were originally at least 2 moments where the Mother of the Fog would stop to look at or gesture towards the shadowy creatures while delivering these unused lines.
Kingdom of fear consumes itself. Children of the air, family of the fog, a home at war with itself.
Retrieving the icon and bringing it back to Richter will allow you to join the Children of Adam and finally enter the Nucleus to explore it and meet the other members. Archemist, the cult's doctor, has some cut voice lines that would have given you more information about her past wicked life, as she calls it, how she arrived at the Nucleus, information about the Mother of the Fog and Dima.
How did you end up here?
On a stretcher, I'm told. I grew ill during our exile. When I awoke, I was in this place. They said a woman wreathed in black led us here, but that it was already occupied by an old robot lost in its own dreams, slept away its days in the upper chambers, had little interest in Adam, but interested in us. But it left many years ago. Decided it would be best if we had a place of our own.
When talking to High Confessor Tectus, the leader of the cult, he can reveal that the alchemist's name is Anna. What's interesting about this is that there is an unfinished note in the game files seemingly addressed to Anna, but it was left incomplete and there's no indication who wrote it. It reads, "Anna, with Martin gone, I just wanted to remind you, I'm here for you, and I've always..." It raises the question of whether there was someone in Far Harbor who was intended to still care for her and wanted her to come back home. Sister Mai, the general shopkeeper, has voice lines about turning the player away during nighttime, just like Brother Kane does, but she never actually sleeps due to a missing AI package, so these voice lines never play.
Catch me earlier next time, huh? Not making any friends if I go rooting through the stock at this hour. Maybe we can catch up later. Kind of in the middle of something. We'll talk in the morning, okay?
When talking to Grand Zealot Richter again inside the Nucleus, he will give you a new quest called the Heretic, which will require you to hunt down Sister Gwyneth, a former member who left the Order and has been vandalizing the Children of Adam's altars around the island. You'll have to search for clues at different holy sites until you figure out that she might be staying at a pre-war campsite called Kawakatak Station. There, a holotape recorded by Gwyneth can be found. Originally, this holotape's recording was intended to be a lot creepier, with more disturbing voice lines of her speaking backwards or in tongues. Shifting back to the main quest line, you can now access the Nucleus Command Center and will have to play a virtual simulation game in order to retrieve Dima's memories. This quest has some unused voice lines from Dima, telling you during the sim that you've lost an indexer.
Indexer knocked out. What are your defense constructs doing?
According to the quest script and details in the creation kit, these Dima voice lines were supposed to be chosen randomly and played whenever an indexer bug died.
Heads up, indexer just got smoked. Lost an indexer, along with the data it was carrying. Lost a data-filled indexer. Better check the position of your defense constructs.
One of the secrets that can be discovered by retrieving Dima's memories is the wind farm kill switch code for the wind farm that supplies power to the fog condensers protecting Far Harbor, found at Dima's cache. If you chose to destroy the town, it seems that the wind farm was once intended to explode when you entered the kill switch code, not just shut down. The Pridwin explosion sound was meant to be used. And once you exited the maintenance building, the weather would have been forced to switch to a radstorm. A placeholder holotape recorded by one of the developers also confirms that the wind farm was supposed to explode, and that the code for it was meant to be learned directly from Dima's memories, instead having to find the cache first.
I've isolated one of the wind turbines to provide power solely to Far Harbor, and I've installed a kill switch in the operating terminal. The command 19H48 will override the turbine's regulator. It will, in the simplest terms, explode.
If, after learning the truth about Captain Avery and how Dima killed the original and replaced her with a synth, you agree to keep the murder a secret, Dima will suggest a plan to also replace Confessor Tectus with a synth in order to ensure peace between the factions. You are tasked with luring Tectus into the command center using a fake holotape of the former Confessor Martin, threatening to return and take over as leader again. However, the developers were also intending to add another way to lure Tectus to the command center. You would have been able to seduce him, which would have made the High Confessor nervous, due to not having been intimate with anyone in a long time. This route would have also have ensured he didn't bring any bodyguards with him. Even placeholder voice lines for this route were recorded for Tectus. When you first suggested the idea,
I'm flattered. The command center, you said? Go. Get comfortable. I will meet you there once the coast is clear.
And when in the command center,
I admit it's been some time. How is it you like to start? Is everything all right? You aren't reconsidering?
After getting him to meet you in the command center and confronting him, in the final game, he either fights you to the death, or you convince him to run away and he permanently disappears from the game. However, according to the quest script, there was a planned alternate version of this confrontation. In it, Tactus would have ran away from you and successfully escaped the command center while shouting a custom voice line as he fled, then reintegrated into his cult faction, turning the entire nucleus permanently hostile towards you. In the creation kit, there is a voice line of him screaming,
"Atom above! Somebody! Help!"
And in the conditions for this voice line, there is an abandoned seduce high confessor condition, which links this possible outcome to the cut seduction route. When looking at this quest in the creation kit, there is also a quest stage where the quest designer notes, high confessor hit exit trigger while fleeing space, and a quest fail stage that reads, quest fail, high confessor escaped memory banks. After replacing Tactus with a synth, in the synth's voice folder, a placeholder voice line can be found of him talking to Grand Zealot Richter, trying to calm him after announcing the peace between them and Far Harbor.
I understand your reticence, Richter, but I assure you, this is the will of Atom. Would you deny what he demands?
Sometimes, when returning to Far Harbor before its destruction, you may find a Miss Nanny robot named Pearl following Captain Avery around, asking about the local police. After their scene is finished, she will approach you and ask whether you're a detective, explaining that she urgently needs someone to accompany her to Vault 188 to investigate a murder. After agreeing to help and following Pearl to the vault's entrance, beneath the Cliff's Edge Hotel, you'll be met by Maxwell, who will open the vault's doors for you if you also tell him you're a detective. Originally, it seems the vault was intended to be accessed differently. Without Pearl guiding you there, you would have had to discover the vault on your own. And once at the door, Maxwell would have asked whether you have a reservation for a room inside the vault. If you didn't, he would request a large deposit of pre-war money in order to gain access. There is still a text-to-speech placeholder voice line for Maxwell in the game files for this scenario.
If you don't have a reservation, I'm afraid the only way we can book the room for you at this time is with an appropriately large deposit.
Additionally, if we look at the Vault 188's intro quest in the creation kit, specifically in the quest objectives tab, there are 2 abandoned objectives visible that involve finding pre-war money and using the Vault 188's intercom to place the deposit. Once inside, Maxwell would have given you a vault suit, a key card, and directed you to your suite, which would have been suite number 3. The key card is still present in the files, along with the intended voice lines from Maxwell, although these are again in text-to-speech form.
Here is your complimentary vault suit, included as part of the vault living experience. According to the system, you have been registered for suite 3. Here is your key card.
The vault was clearly redesigned for the final release, and some rooms were removed even though their suite numbers still remain. For example, Suite 4 was supposed to be here, but this door now leads to the atrium. The player's suite would have been located next to Gilda and McKenny's room. A cut hairstylist, Mr. Handy named Barbara, later renamed Jasper before being entirely cut, was intended to appear in the vault. The NPC can still be spawned in the game, and still has an attached haircut script, as well as a travel AI package. Vault 188 Barbara traveled to Salon, along with a text-to-speech voice file, saying,
"Welcome to the salon."
There would have also been a Mr. Handy chef named Sebastian, who would have prepared food for the vault, and also sold food to the player. His vendor chest is still floating in the vault's cell, and it still contains a list of consumables he would have sold. The gift shop of the vault was originally operated by a Mr. Handy named Rupert, instead of Pearl, internally named Vault 188 Gift Store Bot. And a unique Miss Nanny named Penny would have also appeared in the vault, but her exact role is unknown. The murder mystery side quest Brain Dead inside the vault was originally intended to play out somewhat differently. In the original design of the quest, you would have been given physical case files for every suspect and for the victims as well, likely appearing as notes in your Pip-Boy. Each time you discovered a clue or interrogated a suspect, the script was supposed to dynamically add a new paragraph of evidence to that character's specific case file. Altogether, there are around 70 different clues planned for the the investigation. There's an unused research terminal named Vault 188 Terminal Bird that was supposed to appear somewhere in the vault, and reading it would have provided one of the 70 clues to add to the case. The original victim for this quest was actually a cut robo-brain named Spencer Lords, who was supposed to be the very first victim of Ezra Parker. If we look closer at the clue tracker script, we can discover that the quest's developer literally wrote the plot outline into the comments. Spencer was murdered weeks before Ezra, and Juliana would have been the one who found his body due to her interest in his novels. It's possible that Spencer discovered Ezra's money embezzlement scheme, and that Ezra likely murdered Spencer to keep him quiet, then faked his own death by killing the real Juliana weeks later. Spencer's body, which is still floating in the vault's cell, would have been found in his personal suite, Suite 6, which you would have had to investigate for clues. Maxwell also has multiple TTS placeholder lines, describing Spencer Lords as a novelist and a recluse.
We found Mr. Lords dead in his room a few weeks back, but we weren't sure if there was foul play or merely an accident. He rarely ever left his room, so we aren't even sure how long he had been dead. He was a well-known novelist, having many bestsellers, kept mostly to himself though.
After discovering and confronting Ezra masquerading as Juliana Briggs, there was once intended to be an option for the player to be able to side with Ezra and rob the other Robo-Brains clean, splitting the loot between the two of you. Instead of just passing a speech check, Ezra would have tasked you with collecting valuables from the rooms of the remaining Robo-Brains, as seen within the Cut Dialogue V118 script. A developer comment attached to the script even notes, "Old, no longer used." After the looting, you would have had to return to Ezra and share it with him. Voice lines for Ezra receiving the goods are still present in the game files.
Ah, you've got everything. Marvelous. I'll take those, thank you. And here is your cut. Been a pleasure working with you, Detective. I hope we never meet again.
If you are allied with the Institute when starting the Far Harbor DLC, you can choose to report the escaped synth colony in Acadia, which begins the quest Forbidden Knowledge. In the final game, this leads you to a new Institute character, Dr. Mosley, who can initiate the raid on Acadia. Originally, however, it seems the player would have reported their findings directly to Alana Secord and Justin Ayo regarding the existence of the synth settlement. Placeholder audio recorded by a developer still exists in the files, suggesting this earlier version was at least partially implemented.
Anything north of here is Alana's problem, not mine. Bother her with it. I'm sorry, Director, but that isn't my jurisdiction. I'm sure Alana would be happy to discuss it with you, if you'll excuse me.
And based on these recordings, it is likely this content was cut due to voice actor availability, as Elena's dialogue appears to closely mirror Dr. Mosley's.
Okay, I've heard enough. This clearly needs our attention, but being up north, it's going to be difficult to deal with.
Diamond City guards were intended to have reactions to your Far Harbor weapons and armor, as well as your travels to and from the island. But just like with Elena Secord, only developer-recorded placeholder voice lines remain.
Hey, no offense, but you smell like the friggin' ocean swallowed you up. Just where have you been? I hear there's a boat that keeps coming and going to some place up north. Now, why do I get the feeling that you're involved with that? What, we gotta start calling you captain now, just 'cause you go on a few boat rides? A dumb question, but is that a meat hook? Dare I ask what kind of meat you've been hauling? Never seen armor like that before. Pre-war military or something? Whoa, what is that thing? A harpoon gun? You a pirate now?
This is pretty well-known cut content by now, but I'll still briefly mention it. Cut throwable harpoons, hatchets, saws, bottles, and blades were once intended to appear in the DLC as throwable weapons, but were ultimately left unused in the game files. Textures, arrows, and even firing and equip sounds can also be found for the cut compound bow. It is practically almost finished, but was still left cut. Also, textures for stingwing nests can be found in Far Harbor's texture files, as well as in its test cell, Test Tony. Additionally, in the creation kit, a DLC 03 Stingwing race entry also appears, revealing that stingwings, and more notably their nests, were intended to appear in the Far Harbor DLC, but were never implemented, and were later recycled for Nuka World. Alright, now here's the tip on saving even more money on games when shopping on Aniba. Snaxy, an app that lets you earn real rewards just by playing mobile games. You complete in-game milestones, earn coins, and then redeem those coins for rewards that can be cashed out directly into your Aniba wallet, which you can then use on more Fallout items and DLCs. Check this out, you can choose up to 5 games at once to maximize your earnings. Each game features mini goals that allow you and other players to cash out instantly while playing, with rewards ranging anywhere from $5 to $25. And the more offers you complete, the better the deals get. On top of that, you can also cash out your reward points through gift cards for PayPal, Venmo, Google Play, Amazon, Walmart, eBay, and more, meaning real money and rewards you can use on whatever you want. It's also a great way to play high-quality mobile games while also earning something valuable back. And there are tons of different genres to choose from RPGs and action games to puzzles and horror. And it's super simple, just pick a game, start playing, and the rewards will begin stacking up. Use my code Alternative Gaming Channel when signing up for Snaxy, and you'll get a free $10 welcome bonus to get started. Also, you can click the link in the description below. Turn that gaming time into rewards. Check out Snaxy, and thanks for watching.